Alrighty guys, as I keep bringing another Dragon Ball Legends ToP guide video. This is going to be in regards to ToP Season 60. So last season, we ended up hitting rank 3,188, meaning that we did secure the top cut title for that season, which is honestly pretty great considering that we ran Buhan at 3 stars. Unfortunately, we also ran the purple Super Buu, who was absolutely terrible, and we will not run him again until he gets a Zenkai. That being said, there will always be timestamps in the description down below, that way you guys can go ahead and get to where you need to go. So the first thing we are going to be talking about, or going over at least, is our pathing. So I always say that the circled fights are going to be your most important fights. Remember that ToP does reward you off of a win streak bonus, right? So on the 5th fight, 10th fight, 15th, 20th, and 25th, those are going to be your most important fights, as those fights will yield the most amount of points. As for the blue pathing, if you guys do want to deviate from this, what I have right here, that is more than okay. I do advise landing on those circle tiles though. Now we are going to be talking about tips and tricks, and something that I always like to mention is your friendship rank. You want to get your entire ToP team to friendship rank 10. This will provide a direct buff to all of your stats solely in ToP. I do have an example up on the screen right here with Android 21. You can see her key restore speed is at 2,644. And if we look at the regular stats, it's only at 2,519. There will be a buff across the entire board of your stats. The best way to upgrade your friendship rank is through the Let's Fight event. You get 3 of these per day. But to go even further, that's something that I have failed to mention in previous guide videos, something that the homie War actually brought up, was that you can craft a friendship rank dedicated team with the specific equip that allows you to gain more friendship rank points. This is my current friendship rank team. As you can see, I'm working on all these units and they're all using the same equip. If we look at this equip right here, it's going to give me a certain percentage of friendship points gained, and this stacks. All of this stacks. That's why I have it on every single unit. Even though you can only bring 1 unit to the Let's Fight event, they all add together. And in order to get this equip right here, you do have to go into the Z Metal shop and exchange it for your Z Metals. The other way to do this, the more tedious way, the way that I don't really recommend here, is going to your story mode, doing part 6, book 1, Chapter 8. It is a fight against Super Saiyan 3 Goku. This will give you friendship rank, but it is at a terrifyingly low pace. Again, if you do end up going this route for grinding your friendship rank, make sure you do have a friendship rank grinding team with that specified equipment. So now let's go through our pathing and see what are the trickiest fights. The first fight that we're going to be encountering here is the Cell Saga fight. So what you want to do here is kill the yellow cell first, since he does debuff and provide support. Also keep in mind that the IT Goku mitigates a strike attack. Next, we do have LOE. The unit that you want to be most cautious for is the yellow full power Frieza, because once you hit him with a blast card, he will mitigate it while also gaining 100% to a super gauge. Either save him for last and pray to RNG, or swap all your units to strike base by doing this. Click on your specified units, and next to that unit will be a blast icon. You can swap that over to strike and then hit confirm. Obviously, if you have a blast based team, you're going to be losing a lot of damage by doing that, which is why I tend to just pray to RNG. Also, the first form LF Frieza will stun you at the beginning of the fight. There's nothing you can do about that. Next, we have Sagas from the movies. Kill Tapion first, since he reduces one of your unit's super gauges down to 0 on turn 2, and then Turles, since he inflicts debuffs onto your team. Next, we have the Kid Gohan stage, the infamous stage itself. You want to kill that Kid Gohan first, and if possible, kill Beerus before turn 2 as well, so he cannot stun you. Next, we have Sagas with Ultra Gogeta. You want to kill the Ultra Gogeta first, since he will gain super attack percentage per dead ally. He's definitely the most scariest part of this fight. Next, we have USS. You want to kill that Champa first, because he will stun you at the start of turn 2. And typically, I like to save Hit for last, since he will mitigate a blast or a strike arts with his time skip mechanic. And towards the end of our pathing here, we face, I believe, 3 of the double Broly stages. What I like to do here is I like to kill Ultra Broly first, since he stuns at the start of turn 2, and then Sparking Broly since he stuns at the end of turn 2, and then I typically just ignore Tapion here until it's convenient to me. Although, some of you guys have given me feedback saying that you should attack the Ultra Broly last if you can't finish him off in that first turn, because a lot of people like to save him to use the Rising Rush on him since he is such a tanky unit. So if that works better for you, then go ahead and do that. So for our top teams, we have the current rank 1, the homie Battle Amore, who is rocking basically an androids dominated team with the inclusion of Purple Turles, Red Pycon, and EX Namek Goku. So immediately, the units that stand out here is the Namek Goku, since he does have the healing potential to his left and to his right. He also has an indiscriminate heal, meaning it doesn't matter what tag you are. This is a one-time heal per fight. You also have the ToP 18, who is also a healer for tags Android and Universe representative. That is also once per fight. As you can see right here, I would have to replace that ToP 18 with the A tier first form Zenkai Cell, because he does have good debuffs. I'm not gonna lie. He also heals ally tag androids by 3% at the start of the third turn, another once per fight heal. As for damage, we do have this Red Pycon, who does get a guaranteed super attack at the start of turn 3, as well as giving himself 40% to special move damage inflicted. So a lot of it's falling onto him for DPS. But honestly, if you happen to have Cell Jr. at high stars, I would probably recommend bringing him over this Zenkai 17. This guy is only buffing red anyways. I mean, his kit is alright. I feel like he's mostly there simply because of him having the Zenkai stats and stuff like that. Cell Jr. is going to get folded at low stars, but if you do have him at the higher stars, he does have some decent stuff here. Plus, he does have a heal for himself. This is definitely more of a risky team, so if you do end up going with something like this, you have to play it extremely safe, going for the 3/5 stages over the 5/5 stages most of the time. So next we have androids, and I'm gonna go ahead and say it, I recommend this team over Regeneration. There are so many Z tier options here, as well as so many good replacement units. This person right here on the right hand side is running one healer with EX Zenkai Cell, but if you want to run 2, then that is more than possible, right? As you can see right here on my setup, I do have this Red 18. I'm very biased towards her. I really like the fact that she has an indiscriminate heal, plus it's at the end of every single turn. So you're getting a total of 12% health back for those 3 specific tiles. You could also bring in that yellow ToP 18 if you by any chance don't have EX Zenkai Cell, which is very unlikely, or even hop into B tier and take a look at the Sparking Gamma 2 if you want a replacement blue unit that's going to be more of a safe pick. He also has a healing ability right here. At the start of third turn, you restore health by allies in range, and that is also indiscriminate. Plus, he farms his blue card very quickly. He's a very valuable unit. And another value is, speaking of valuable units that can do damage, if you hop into A tier, you could even pick up the Zenkai Super 13, since he does get a guaranteed super attack at the start of turn 3. Plus, having the buff against Super Saiyan is pretty nice. So next we have another team who I also recommend over Regeneration is GT. The standout units here are obviously Super Baby 2. He is definitely the GOAT of ToP, right? Because of him just being the best healer for the tags Regeneration in GT. Another unit I really like here a lot is this EX Omega Shenron. He farms his blue card at a pretty fast rate, and he heals himself upon using it, right? Not only that, but once he uses that blue card, once it hits, he also inflicts all enemies with poison. This Red Zenkai Goku is also good for DPS, since he does get his super attack every other fight, since he does get 50% to his special move gauge at the start of the first turn. But other than that, like, this team just has a lot of options right here, a lot of good units in S tier. So even if you don't want to overload your team with Z tier units and play it a little bit more risky, I think this Green Baby Vegeta is amazing for ToP. The Shadow Dragon's Ice Shenron, this Nova Shenron, even this Yellow Sin Shenron are good. This EX Baby Vegeta is good. This EX Sin Shenron is good. Like, you just have a lot of options, even to the point where if you wanted to hop all the way down into C tier, I don't have the Tag 4s, but if you wanted to play it extra safe and just throw on the Tag 4s as one of your backup units and then just throw them in for those tricky fights, that's okay. GT is on top. So next we have girls. The first unit I notice here is the ToP 18 as the healer, but I also can't help but notice the lack of EX Kale. Personally, I would prefer her over the EX Blue Fasha, since Fasha only heals Bardock squad members while this blue Kale is going to heal that entire top row plus her own tile at the end of each turn by 2%. Activates 2 times only though. 1000 Day Bulma can be replaced by this EX Mai. Obviously she's going to be a bit worse, but she does buff the entire board. And you do see me having other little changes right here, such as the red 18 being here because she is also an indiscriminate healer. She also has debuffs. Another thing here too is that in A tier, that free-to-play 18 works pretty well. Just keep in mind she does not buff girls. I also definitely prefer the Urine over the EX Kakunza. Urine's obviously better than the EX Kakunza. It's just that Kakunza is in a higher tier. But I would say that this team is kind of tricky to run, so do not use this team unless you're confident in the amount of stars that you have. Alright, so lastly, we have the team that we will be using here is Regeneration. So let's go through it tier by tier. Starting off in Z tier, we do have this Super Baby 2. He's alright. He's pretty much here just to get us some points on those easy fights. He does not buff Regeneration, but he does buff powerful opponent. Some of our Regeneration units do fit that criteria, but other than that, his kit isn't all that great. In S tier, we're picking up 2 units here with this Perfect Cell. I really like him a lot because of his full board debuffs. We also have this EX Baby Vegeta also having the full board debuffs. It doesn't really show it right here, but right here in his kit, inflicts all enemies with attribute downgrade plus 10% to blast damage received for 1 turn. Now in A tier, this is where things get a little bit shooken up. We do have this first form Green Cell who we often use. He does have a heal, he does have some debuffs. Doesn't really affect a whole lot of the board, but it's some debuffs nonetheless. And we also have this Blue Slug. So this is usually the replacement unit I recommend for the Kamikalo, but Kamikalo has been demoted down to B tier, which is why we're going to be picking up that Slug instead. Speaking of B tier, we do have Bootanks. He's basically the secondary GOAT of this team next to Super Baby 2. He does get that guaranteed super attack. It's really valuable here, especially with the Zenkai. He's very durable. Now we are also going to be using this red 21. We're going back to our roots with her. Buuhan did well, but Buuhan needed to be by the Super Baby 2 at all times because of him only being 3 stars, right? That being said, if you want to replace that red 21 by going back up to A tier and grabbing him, if you have him at 7 stars or higher, maybe even 6 stars or higher, then go ahead and do so. And lastly, we do have our MVP, Super Baby 2. He's probably always going to be seeing playtime on our Regeneration squad. If you guys need any replacements for this team, let me know in the comment section down below. So now, let's move on to the final segment of the video. We're going to be talking about the Ginyu Force, starting with the captain himself, Ginyu. So let's go ahead and look at his ToP stats. At maximum stats, the key restore speed is the first thing I look for. At 2,361, that's pretty weak. I'm not gonna lie. What about after revival? 2,384, also still pretty weak. He does have the regular blue card here. As for his first ability, at the start of battle, 80% to damage inflicted, minus 15% to damage received, plus 70 to key recovery. Would have been a lot better if that was 70%, right? On strike or blast arts attack, plus 10% to damage inflicted, and plus 5% to special move gauge. That is huge. There's 4 turns in a fight, he's going to be getting 20% per fight. When own health reaches 0, you transform with 100% health, that's his revival factor. You get 20% to damage inflicted, minus 10% to damage received, and 15% to special move damage inflicted. Once transformed, the transformation will remain even after the battle ends. So he's going to have value just because of that. So second ability, he does have a strike cover change, health restricted by 30%. At the start of the second turn, multi-target, 20% to own damage inflicted for 2 turns, 50% to own key recovery for 2 turns, or plus 50 to own key recovery for 2 turns, and inflicts enemy with attribute downgrade plus 15% to damage received for 2 turns. Also inflicts them with minus 30 to key recovery for 2 turns. I honestly expected a bit more. I feel like this isn't all that obviously, again, he will have value just for being a revival unit, but I don't know. So next we have Recoome and Guldo. So let's go ahead and take a look at their max stats. Key restore speed 2,476. That's actually decent. They have the regular blue card here. At the start of battle, 80% to damage inflicted, minus 20% to damage received, plus 10% to key recovery. I'm telling you guys, that percent makes a massive difference. That's huge. Plus 50% to special move gauge charge rates, cannot be cancelled on attack / multi-target, plus 15% to own damage inflicted for 1 turn, plus 20% to own critical rate for 1 turn, inflicts enemy with the attribute downgrade, plus 10% to damage received for 1 turn. And on special move arts hit, you inflict can't attack. So next, he does have a strike cover change with a health restriction of 30%. At the start of turn, own health is 60% or below. I already don't like that. I don't like that your health has to be 60% or below. Minus 10% to own damage received. 15% to own special move gauge activates 2 times. And 10% to damage inflicted by allies for 2 turns. This feels like more of an ability to be cautious of when he's on the enemy team. At the end of the second turn, ally tag Frieza Force or tag Ginyu Force in range restores health by 2%. That's what I'm looking for. That's huge. Another healer for Frieza Force / Ginyu Force. That's actually massive W. This is going to be a valuable unit for ToP. And before receiving a Strike Blast or Special Move Arts attack against unfavorable element, you restore your own health by 2%, activates twice, and you perform a tag switch that activates twice as well. This guy, I feel like he's already better than Ginyu, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. So next we do have Jeice and Burter. Let's take a look at their ToP stats maxed out. Key restore speed 2226 is pretty bad. Pretty bad. They have the blue card. At the start of the battle, 80% to damage inflicted, 10% to damage inflicted by allies for 2 turns. I like the support. Minus 20% to own damage received, plus 15% to own key recovery. So that's going to help out a little bit right there. On attack against unfavorable elements, you get 15% to special move gauge, activates 1 time only, perform a tag switch, and switches element that activates 1 time only. I hope they get it more in the second ability. Does not activate during a rising rush. Another strike based cover change with a health restriction of 30% or lower. When changing cover, multi-target, plus 20% to own blast damage inflicted, plus 15% to own special move gauge. So this only activates when you change cover? That's so stupid. You pretty much don't want a unit to be below 30% HP. If I'm like understanding this wrong, let me know in the cover section, because this is kind of bad, right? When changing cover, you also get inflicts all enemies with attribute downgrade minus 5% to key recovery, inflicts all enemies with attribute downgrade plus 25% to damage received for 1 turn. Like, this is really good stuff. If that's really like gated behind him having to do a cover change, that's pretty awful. After receiving an attack, you get 15% to damage inflicted, activates twice, and 10% to special move damage inflicted, activates twice. If I'm understanding this correctly, and this does rely on him getting that strike cover change, I'm gonna go ahead and say that this unit is badly designed. And last but not least, we do have this free-to-play Goku ToP stats, maximum stats. Key restore speed 2326, not the best, but definitely more towards the worst, I would say. Or not even the worst, but more towards the bad side, right? Has a blue card, first ability, 50% to damage inflicted, minus 15% to damage received. On strike arts, attack self, plus 20% to strike damage inflicted for 1 turn. Restores health by 1% per strike? That's pretty good. At the start of turn, if your health is above 60%, 10% to damage inflicted and 10% to strike damage inflicted. Okay, I mean, not bad. Plus 20% to, at the start of first turn, plus 20% to damage inflicted for 1 turn, and another plus 20% to strike damage inflicted for 1 turn. After receiving an attack, 15% to damage inflicted, activates twice, cannot be cancelled. 10% to special move damage inflicted, cannot be cancelled, activates twice. And at the start of the third turn, multi-target, you cancel attribute downgrades for ally tag, Saiyan, or tag event exclusive, and you inflict all enemies with attribute downgrade plus 10% to damage received, inflicts all enemies with attribute downgrade minus 10 to key recovery. I think he's pretty solid. Overall, I think Recoome and Guldo are the best here, probably Ginyu being second. Let me know what you guys think of the units for their ToP kits. So that being said, that's going to go ahead and wrap up the video for today. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns related to ToP, related to Season 60 specifically, let me know in the comment section down below. And if you guys do enjoy the content, make sure you guys leave a like and maybe even consider hitting that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Later!